we all have these parts, which are all valuable and we're born with and have valuable roles to play, but they become burdened by traumas you experience, by bad parenting you experience, by peer shaming you get. And when you have those experiences, the emotions and beliefs that come from those experiences attach to these parts, almost like a virus, and then thereafter drive the way they operate. And so that's what we're calling a burden.
Hello, Sounds True friends. My name's Tammy Simon. I'm the founder of Sounds True, and it is my joy and honor to welcome you to this special session, Healing Across Generations, a dialogue on internal family systems, IFS, and ancestral wisdom with Dick Schwartz and Tamela Floyd. Dick Schwartz is the founder of IFS, and with Sounds True, he's the author of the best-selling book, No Bad Parts, and a recent book with Thomas Hubel. It's called Releasing Our Burdens, a guide to healing individual, ancestral, and collective trauma. Dick is working on a new book with Sounds True. It's on the spirituality of IFS. And we're also offering a course on the spirituality of IFS, which you can still join if you're interested. We're running the course now for the second time, and the second cohort is still open if you want to join us. We're being joined for this conversation, I'm so pleased, by Tamela Floyd, who has written a gorgeous, practical guidebook to IFS. It deepened my understanding of IFS in many new ways. I'm very grateful to Tamela. It's called Listening When Parts Speak, a practical guide to healing with IFS therapy and ancestor wisdom. Tamela is a psychotherapist, a consultant, an educator, and an IFS lead trainer. And here, during Black History Month, I want to note the historic role that Tamela Floyd has played within the IFS community as being the first Black person to become an IFS trainer. Tamela, Dick, welcome.
Hi,
Thank
Tammy.
you for having us.
Always great.
Here at the beginning, I want to open it up and ask you both a very general question, which is for both of you, how does working with ancestral presences, the intelligence of ancestors, and your IFS work come together? Whether that's personally or in your work as a clinician or both. And Tamela, I think let's go ahead and start with you.
Absolutely. I would have to answer that question saying it happens in both my personal life and professionally with clients. I have done quite a bit of work with my ancestors through ancestral healing medicine, working to heal my ancestral lines and my own legacy burden. But I also do that work with my clients and helping them to come into relationship with their ancestors. And it's primarily happened healing intergenerational trauma with my clients, or what we would also call legacy burdens in IFS. The beauty of bringing the ancestors into the work is that this ends up creating a long-standing relationship, at least the beginning of that, for clients, so that they can then continue to connect with ancestors, have these deepened relationships, and have guidance for their ancestors, from their ancestors moving forward.
And Tamela, just to be very specific, when you say working with ancestors, tell me what you mean specifically. I use this general term presences, which to me is my way of covering all my bases.
Yeah. So when I'm looking at the ancestors and I'm working with the clients, I'm looking at typically their four primary ancestral lines. So that would be their mother's mother, mother's father, father's father, and father's mother's line. So when I'm looking at those legacy burden, they may see that, oh, this legacy burden comes from my mother's line. So when I'm talking about ancestors, we're looking at all the women on that line going back as far as it needs to go in order to heal that legacy burden. So these are their blood relatives, but they also include chosen family, also includes adoptive family members. So it's not just their blood family that I'm referring to when I'm saying their ancestors.
Okay. And Dick, tell me how these two streams, if you will, come together for you in your work with IFS.
Well, I'm thrilled to have Tamela in the community because she's much more expert on all that she talked about than I am. I don't have conscious personal relationships with, I sense my father around sometimes, and mainly my father and her friends, and otherwise, yeah. So that's about it for me personally. But I got interested in legacy burden some years ago because I would ask parents where they were stuck in the past with what they were carrying, and often they would show scenes that were clearly not from their lives, and often were from ancestors they could identify, but they would see these traumas. And so I just got more and more curious about that phenomenon. And so the legacy burden side of things has become a big focus of mine. And as we do the legacy work, often we'll invite whatever ancestors also carry this burden to come in, and much more than me, people will see various ancestors or sense their presence, and they can all unburden this stuff together. And so I will do some of what Tamela does, which is to try to foster an ongoing relationship with these ancestors, with the client. But it's still kind of foreign to me personally.
And just in terms of setting the stage here, I really want everyone to come along with us. And by that, I mean, you're both referencing legacy burdens. And this is a technical term, if you will, within IFS, meaning people may think, I get it. It's this thing I inherited and it's weighing me down. But it has more specific meaning within the IFS model. So Dick, maybe you can explain that. What's a burden and then what's a legacy burden?
Yeah. So I don't know if your audience knows, but the model is based on the idea that we all have these parts, which are all valuable and we're born with and have valuable roles to play, but they become burdened by traumas you experience, by bad parenting you experience, by peer shaming you get. And when you have those experiences, the emotions and beliefs that come from those experiences attach to these parts, almost like a virus, and then thereafter drive the way they operate. And so that's what we're calling a burden. Basically, extreme beliefs or emotions that came into your system from some kind of a trauma and attach to these parts. And a lot of the healing involves unburdening, helping parts let go of the extreme beliefs and emotions or energies that they've been carrying. And with legacy burdens, so though the ones I just described generally came from your direct experience in life, but we all carry burdens, extreme beliefs and emotions that came down through the generations from some trauma that might have been centuries ago or at least decades, and that didn't have much to do with your life, but gets transmitted, and there are various ways they get transmitted, including epigenetics, which is the biological way it happens. But there are a number of other ways. And again, the legacy burden you got maybe from your mother then comes into you and attaches to your parts and then drives the way you operate. And these legacy burdens can be extremely powerful drivers of your personality and your view of the world. And so it's often a big deal